Vivo's high-end phones have a reputation for being among the very best when it comes to smartphone photography. So does the iPhone 17 Pro Max even stand a chance? Let's find out. It's a rainy day and we can see right from the get-go that the iPhone has a much wider field of view with its ultra-wide lens. The colors on the Vivo are more vivid, but it's exactly what you get for using its default vibrant mode. Switching to the main lens, the image gets brighter on the Vivo, and both phones now share a much closer field of view. The iPhone shot gets a bit warmer though. At 2x, the X300 Pro boosts the brightness once more. Next up are the telephoto lenses. The Vivo is overall sharper here, and the higher vibrance really sticks out without looking too outlandish in my eyes. I prefer using the native zoom steps the phones offer in the camera app, so next up is 10x on the Vivo and 8x on the iPhone. This is an easy win for the X300 Pro. The max zoom of the 17 Pro Max is 40x, and it simply can't compete with the Vivo at all. The X300 Pro is obviously using AI to enhance the shot, and while further zoomed out text usually suffers the most with these AI enhancers, it's still doing a really good job here, even when pushing all the way to 100x. The Vivo remains brighter on this ultra-wide shot too, while the 17 Pro Max keeps that slightly warmer look. Moving to the main lens and then to 2x, the brightness gets noticeably raised, especially on the Vivo. Looking closely at the details here, the X300 Pro definitely has the sharper output. The telephoto lenses are pretty close in overall quality and look, but just like before, the next zoom step goes to the Vivo. The iPhone's max zoom can't compete at all, though punching in to 100x isn't looking that great on the Vivo this time around either. Change of scenery and Mr. Blue Sky honors us with his presence. The colors on the Vivo are obviously highly saturated again, but it also squeezes out a bit more detail. The iPhone captures the true-to-life colors better overall, but the main lens shot gets a warmer tone once again. Except for the vibrancy, the 2x shots are actually very close. But when switching to the telephoto lens, the X300 Pro cranks up the vibrancy and the shot is also a little bit sharper. This difference gets even more pronounced at 10x versus the iPhone's 8x. The 40x remains an easy win for the Vivo, and this time even the 100x gives us a really satisfying output. These ultra-wide shots are much closer in the overall appearance, with the iPhone just being a bit darker. However, this gap widens with the main lens since the Vivo is again boosting the brightness, and it does so even more at 2x. The iPhone gets more vivid with its telephoto lens too, but the Vivo is cranking it up even further. While the 10x looks more refined coming from the Vivo, it also appears more artificial in certain places. This artificial look is also true at 40x, but it is still the preferable shot for me. These ultra-wide shots look vastly different now, with the Vivo heavily oversaturating the colors of the building and the green car. It handles the scene better with the main lens, though there is still a visible gap in color language between the two phones here and at 2x. It gets closer with the telephoto lens, where the Vivo sharpens the shot quite a bit more. This over-sharpening is also visible at 10x. While it looks fine on the sign, it looks a lot less natural on the wall. The 40x shot looks great from the Vivo, that's a good use of AI in my books, and even the 100x shot looks flawless. Can you improve the iPhone's zoom capabilities with an external lens? The guys at Apexel sent me their zoom lens, which you can easily attach with a clamp on your phone. So let's check out how much better the shots can get with it. First of all, this only works with the main lens and you need to deactivate the macro mode. For this location I will be using the Apexel zoom lens on the iPhone 17 Pro Max to see if a zoom lens like this can match the Vivo X300 Pro when it comes to zooming. And we're good to go. We're at 40x on the Vivo and are using the Apexel lens of the iPhone here now for a comparison. The Vivo looks cleaner here, but it is also very strongly processed to a point where it looks too fake. Going in further just confirms the same thing. The shot with the Apexel lens isn't perfect, but it's definitely more natural looking, while the Vivo creates this digital art piece. But what is more interesting is how much this external lens improves the iPhone over its own built-in telephoto lens. Well, in my eyes, this is a significantly better looking shot. This is a 4x crop of the main lens using the lens adapter at 10x, equaling to a 40x shot. Comparing this to what the 17 Pro Max's native telephoto lens puts out, it's a clear win for the Apexel. Here I went to 8x on the main lens, which translates to roughly an 80x shot, and we can even make out the colors of the person's jacket. Here are some more quick samples, but first a main lens shot from the iPhone to give you an idea how far out we actually are here. Another benefit of not using the built-in telephoto lens is less visible noise. Going to 80x once again gets noisier too, but that's to be expected. Here's another good example of how much better the image looks using the lens. The text is somewhat distorted on the iPhone's telephoto lens, while it's perfectly fine using the Apexel lens. If you don't have a phone at hand, you can also just attach this side here and use it this way. So overall, this is a neat tool to increase the quality of your zoomed in shots. The handling is fine, but for the best results, a tripod might be recommended. I took all these shots handheld though. Next up are portraits, and unfortunately there were some issues with my backup and the mainland shots are missing. So we jump straight into the 2x shots. Both phones take a good shot here, with the iPhone being more accurate with its colors. With the telephoto lens, they move way closer together, giving us pretty much the same color language. However, the Vivo does a better job with the background separation and is overall a bit sharper. Zooming in further on the Vivo now, I actually prefer the iPhone's max zoomed in portrait in comparison. Sticking to the portrait mode, but now with a front-facing camera. The colors are in Vivo's favor this time, and it also does a better job with the edge detection. It's also the only one that can change the field of view. It's using the widest option at 0.8x here, and it can go to the default 1x, which is still wider than the iPhone shot. We also get the option to zoom into 2x on the Vivo if you want to get digitally closer to the action. Without the portrait mode, the iPhone also gives us a wider option, being even wider than the Vivo's output. My skin tone and the colors in general are off on the X300 Pro though. And just like before, we have the option to go to 1x and further to 2x on the Vivo X300 Pro. And if you like this kind of in-depth camera comparison, please consider subscribing. And now let's take a look at the video performance. I'm filming with the front-facing cameras, both in 4K with 30 frames per second. The Vivo X300 Pro is on the 1x option. The iPhone is giving us a wider field of view, but it doesn't have any other option in this regard, while the X300 Pro can go to 0.8x, and this seems to be a tiny bit wider now than the iPhone, but not by much generally. So 0.8x and 1x or the default on the iPhone. All the settings we have are pretty close here. The colors are definitely more accurate on the iPhone. Let's go to the other option with the 1x and the 2x, which is now too close for my taste. The options are never bad to have, and the 0.8x would be my way to film. We also have on the Vivo X300 Pro the vocal enhancement, so now this is me talking without vocal enhancement activated, and now this is me talking with the vocal enhancement activated. Does it improve my voice? Does it dampen the overall sound quality? Let me know what you think about these kind of tools. I'm now shooting in 4K 30 frames per second using the rear cameras. Both are on the ultra wide lenses here, and they look actually pretty close when it comes to the colors here. There's not a huge difference. The field of view is wider on the iPhone 17 Pro Max though, so that's important for you. Advantage iPhone on this matter. Let's go to the main lenses. The iPhone's a bit brighter here, it seems. Overall the colors remain very close. Not a huge difference visible here. So both are doing a good job when it comes to the video performance. sometimes see how well they zoom. And the iPhone, go back to ultra wide, 1x, 2x, 4x, 8x, and a max zoom of 24x. Transitioning is always smooth between the lenses. So now for the Vivo, also back to the ultra wide, 1, 2, 3.5 and 10x as on-screen options, and a maximum of 20x, so the iPhone can get in closer. Transitioning between the lenses is smooth as well. Now I'm shooting 4K 60 frames per second. Looking at the sky here now, and generally the picture seems to be a bit more vibrant on the iPhone. The pictures overall brighter as well. Let's go to the main lens now. So looking here at the road, overall the iPhone has a brighter tone. Pictures overall definitely more vivid. This is a beautiful sunny day. I filmed the night part yesterday night, and it was a very bad experience. It was very cold and it started to rain, and at least today the weather is much more pleasant. Time for low light shots. Focusing on the huge flower pot, Vivo takes a better shot, but everything around it is way too dark, failing to find the right overall balance. The iPhone handles this a bit better, but the quality itself is lacking. The main lens does a much better job on both, but I actually prefer the iPhone overall here, and I would still say the same at 2x. Vivo's telephoto lens is stepping up though, giving us a better shot, and this advantage stays true at 10x. The X300 Pro is way off with the ultra-wide lens here. The whole shot has a yellow wheel over it. This gets lifted with the main lens, where I now prefer the Vivo, since the iPhone has problems with the lights and its infamous lens flare. The lens flare joins the Vivo at 2x2, and neither phone really stands out here. The lit sign on the left has been by the way turned off automatically with the building, just if you're wondering. I would slightly give the telephoto win to the Vivo, but punching in further doesn't yield a good result from either phone. To keep it simple, both ultra-wide shots look bad, and the Vivo is again pumping up the yellow here. The main lenses are worlds better, but ultimately I give it to the Vivo. It handles the lights better once more, letting us actually read the lit sign in the back, whereas it's just a blown out blob of light on the iPhone. But hey, we are actually able to read what's written on the sign on the iPhone too, right there on the lens flare reflection on the car. The 2x shots are weaker from both, but the rest stays the same as on the main lens, with the iPhone struggling more. However, the iPhone's telephoto lens finally lets us read the sign at the right spot. Going to 10x, I can't really recommend either shot, since the Vivo looks way too artificial now. The ultra-wide lens remains a weak link at night for both, with the Vivo staying on the yellow side of things. Vivo takes a better balanced shot with the main lens, while the 2x is actually more detailed from the 17 Pro Max. The iPhone clearly loses its advantage with the telephoto lens though. It's more detailed from the Vivo, and it handles the light coming from the street lamp way better. At 10x, the Vivo remains on top. One more round before we take a look at night portraits. This area is generally better lit, and both perform better with the ultra-wide, but the Vivo just can't leave the yellow hue out of it. It gets better with the main lens, where both take a satisfying shot. Looking at the pavement, both give us a colder tone at 2x. The X300 Pro takes the win with the telephoto lens, and also at 10x versus Apple's 8x shot, which just looks washed out and lacks detail. Going to max zoom on the iPhone definitely won't improve anything, while the Vivo is still doing a fine job with its AI enhanced image. And going to max zoom on the X300 Pro, you can get something like this. Low-light portraits are next, and quality-wise, this is a sure win for the Vivo. The 17 Pro Max doesn't look bad, but the X300 Pro is simply superior, especially in how it separates me from the background. Plus, the iPhone is just too noisy. Next is 35mm and I stuck to the main lens of the iPhone, but the Vivo obviously stays on top. Using the telephoto lenses now, and it's not even a contest. The Vivo smashes the iPhone with ease, be it with clarity, details or color reproduction, you name it. But what about portrait selfies at night? Well, these aren't great from either phone, to be honest, but the Vivo stays on top while also being able to switch between 0.8x, 1x and 2x. Selfies without portrait mode let the iPhone use the wider option too, but the Vivo is still superior here. I'm not shooting in 4K 30 frames per second. Using the ultra-wide lenses, the Vivo is on the preview much brighter here and also more true to what I can see here myself. The iPhone 17 Pro Max is overall darker than reality. Let's go the main lenses. And the brightness advantage stays true for the Vivo X300 Pro, but there's a little bit of a yellowish, too warm tone on the Vivo here, and the picture is way brighter than what I can see here. So now the iPhone is more true to the brightness level I can see myself here. Yeah, the brown tone here on the paved walk, this too warm tone is not visible here myself. So I can really say that the Vivo is not correctly replicating the colors here. The iPhone is doing a much better job regarding this. Quality wise, both are fine. But the brightness level and the color tone is in the favor of the iPhone 17 Pro Max. I'm now shooting 4K 30 frames per second using the front-facing cameras, and the Vivo is also here the brighter one from the two. It looks a little bit too dark here on the iPhone now. It's not as dark here. Look around. So the Vivo seems to be doing a better job here. The brightness level now. Right here. Oh. The colors are, in comparison, to be honest, they are yellow street lights, so both seem to be doing a good job and look not that far off like with the rear cameras just before, where the picture was the too warm tone from the Vivo X300 Pro. Here the picture is definitely brighter, but it doesn't look off. It's, by the way, the 0.8x. We have the 1x here, which is more punched in than the iPhone, and of course also the 2x, which is way too close for my taste. 0.8x is the way to go. Gives us a bit wider field of view maybe, but if not by much. But either way, that's the best option for me. So what do we make out of this comparison? The Vivo X300 Pro definitely has a more versatile camera system, and its telephoto lens especially outperforms the iPhone with ease. However, the color reproduction just isn't consistent enough on the Vivo. Being more vivid is something you would naturally expect with a default vibrant style, but the shots are pumping and lowering the brightness or changing the tone entirely depending on which lens you use. Plus, at night, the ultrawide lens performed awfully bad. What's your take? Let me know in the comments. A sub to the channel would be awesome, and I will see you in the next one.